Honorable Men Discord. Nicki Minaj stands on business. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And by all means, if you have something you'd like to share about this episode, I'll see you in the comment section. So let's get straight to it. On November 18th, rap artist, songwriter, Nicki Minaj took to the UN in New York City, and she spoke about what's going on in Nigeria with the Christians. Now, I covered this on an earlier episode, and what I covered was the fact that she was getting some flack from her fans because she was applauding Trump, because Trump spoke about this, what's going on in Nigeria with the Christians being persecuted for their faith, and she applauded Trump for stepping up. And of course, anyone who says anything or agrees with anything that President Trump does is automatically looked at as like, oh, what are you doing? So it was a big step for her. It was a big move, I should say, for her to applaud President Trump at that time when he addressed it on his X. But now she's standing on business because she got flack from her fans, and she means what she says and what she does. And so she took to the UN and she spoke for about 4 minutes along with other, I want to say, faith leaders. And I believe one politician addressed it also as well. But here's the video with her speaking on it, and then we'll talk about it further.
I must say I am very nervous, so please, well, thank you, Ambassador Waltz, for this invitation. It is an honor to stand on this stage with you and the other distinguished speakers here today to shine a spotlight on the deadly threat faced by thousands of Christians in Nigeria. I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief. Barbs, I know you're somewhere listening. I love you so very much. You have been the ultimate light in my life and career for so long. I appreciate you, and I want to make it very clear once again that this isn't about taking sides. This is about standing up in the face of injustice. It's about what I've always stood for my entire career, and I will continue to stand for that. For the rest of my life, I will care if anyone, anywhere, is being persecuted for their beliefs.
So there you have it. She's stepping up. She doesn't need to do this. She could privately support the effort to address this. She could do it through other faces, or she can do it from behind faith leaders. She doesn't have to put herself out there in the forefront. But it just goes to show how dear it is to her, how dear her faith is to her. But what's your thoughts on this? I think it's commendable. I respect her for doing it. There's an old saying, stand for something or fall for anything. Well, she's standing for something, and I respect anyone, men or women, that stand for something. Because it's easy to do what's popular, and it's harder to do what's not. I'm going to say that again. It's easy to do what's popular, and it's harder to do what's not. So when someone such as Nicki Minaj, and this has nothing to do with, the fact that she raps and her music. This is about her as a person. And the fact that she's well off and she doesn't need to receive flack or put her beliefs out there publicly. But she is. And for that, I respect her. I have a huge amount of respect for her, or anyone, like I said, that does things like this. And aside from that, I think it's for a right cause. I don't think anyone, regardless of what they believe in, should be persecuted for their faith. Anyone. That's not for us to do. Coming from a Christian background, particularly the Baptist church, you don't do that. You don't do that. That's not any human being's right to do something like that. And I know we've seen plenty of accounts throughout history of human beings doing this to other human beings, but it doesn't make it right. No matter how commonplace people have tried to make it appear, it's not right. It's just not right. And you could disagree with me, and that's fine. I stand 10 toes down. Excuse me. I stand 10 toes down on this. So that's fine if you disagree with me. But no one should be persecuted for what they believe in. And yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else to say about this. It's either you agree with her taking this stance or you don't. If you don't agree with Nicki Minaj taking this stance, I'd like to know why. And you have that right to your opinion, but I'd like to know why. If you agree with her, then we both agree. Then we all agree. But I think what she's doing is right, and hopefully other people step up and speak on it. I'm actually surprised she's the only one that's speaking on it. With all the people in Hollywood and in the music industry that when they get an award, they say, "I'd like to thank God." You heard me correctly. With all the people who accept awards, and the cliche thing to say is, "I'd like to thank God for this award." It's interesting I don't hear them supporting Nicki Minaj. And I wonder if she reached out to others to join her at the UN to speak against this. That would be another interesting thing to find out, whether or not she, if she did reach out to people and they decided not to do it, I don't see her disclosing that, because obviously that would cause conflict between her and the relationships that she has with other celebrities. But there's a few celebrities I could name that claim they're Christian, or a few celebrities that, have gone through things in life where they almost didn't make it and they thanked God for it. And I would think that those individuals could at least join Nicki Minaj at the UN and speak against what's going on against the Christians in Nigeria. Now, don't get me wrong, no one has to do anything. So before you jump in the comments and say, "Oh, no one has," I understand that. But as a human being, regardless if you subscribe to Christianity or not, those of you that are Muslim, those of you that are Hebrew, so on and so forth, you do know, and I believe you do know, that this is not right. Because the same thing applies if it was Muslims being their places of worship their mosque being burned down, or temples for those in the Jewish faith being burned down. I'm not saying that's right either. If this was taking place in a different country, things like this taking place in another country, it's not right. And the least you can do as a human being, regardless if you subscribe to any faith, is speak against it. It literally costs you nothing to speak against it. Now, maybe depending on your occupation, maybe it puts a spotlight on you. But again, stand for something, or fall for everything. The choice is yours. And I stand with Nicki Minaj in speaking against it. I do not agree with what's going on in Nigeria. 10 toes down. But that's all I have to say on this episode. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, as always. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you. Spread the word. I drop daily episodes at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And I'll see you in the next episode. Stay honorable.